course, sock puppetry. So, along with my associates Angus McFadden and Clinton Russ, will be demonstrating one of Egypt's most influential and old myths.
Okay.
Osiris is the one with the peacock feathers. They symbolize regality. And Isis has the horns. She's often depicted as a cow, so that's what the horns are for.
Okay.
And then Set is the gray one. Anubis is black. Those are our characters. Oh wait, Horus. Horus, there we go. Horus is a chicken. Alright. So, before we begin, I'm legally obliged to tell you that this myth is saucy, spicy, a little sexy, and it mixes in that one big whoa.
It's the best part of the show so far.
Yeah. Alright, so let's begin.
Okay.
I am Osiris. With my divine heritage, I rule a united Egypt with unmatched intelligence and gentle fairness. Ra has blessed me with righteous kingdomship and ideals for fundamental order. I intend to rule Egypt for many, many years to come. What's going on?
Osiris thinks he is fit to be pharaoh. Well, I too am a distant relative of Atum. Why should I not rule? Why is it he who is pharaoh? He is no better than I am.
Alright, so we're going to need the Osiris puppet and the Set puppet for this one. So no one knows quite what happened next. However, there are many different stories. So each story ends with Set murdering Osiris for the throne. So the first one is just Set stabs Osiris. There we go. That was it. And then another one says that Set drowns Osiris in the waters of the Nile. And that's symbolic because anything that dies in the Nile is basically holy in their myths. And then my favorite, personally, is Set transforms into a crocodile. And
So he's got a leg now.
and he tears Osiris to shreds. Alright. So each myth, even though there's different stories of how it happened, each one Set winds up ripping apart Osiris and scattering all his pieces across Egypt. So all in all, there's 42 pieces, and there's one piece for each nome in ancient Egypt, which was an ancient Egyptian province.
Okay.
Now I, Set, will take my rightful place as pharaoh of all of Egypt. Mwahahaha.
I must be peaceful, my husband. Set is a cruel pharaoh. I'm fit for leadership. I refuse to let this continue. So now I will bring it. How will I bring Osiris back? I was told the glory. Even if I do something and find those bits and bobs. I must have faith. After all, the great God brings the land back from the dead. After the dry seasons, I will let six. The chaotic rule
Alright, so over the next few seasons, Isis walks all over Egypt, and she collects each piece of Osiris one by one.
Yes, finally, I can restore my husband, but how?
Eventually, Isis figures out that she may need help in healing her husband. She decides to journey deep into the underworld to find the only god who she thinks can help.
Who dares come uninvited to my kingdom of the dead?
It's only me, Isis, woman created. I need help resurrecting my husband, Osiris.
Very well, but I alone cannot help you. You must journey to find Thoth, god of magic and knowledge.
So, eventually, the duo do find Thoth, and together with Thoth's magic and Anubis' skill with the dead and mummification, they are able to bring Osiris back. So let's see Osiris, number one. Osiris, however, in this state is not physical and is unfit to rule. So, he is not a contender for the throne anymore because he's still dead, technically. However, he is able to bear a child with Isis. And so Isis once again begins journeying back and forth across Egypt, waiting for her son to reach maturity. And Osiris goes back to the Duat, which is the ancient Egyptian land of the dead, essentially. So, Isis is wandering back and forth, and eventually Horus is born. And so, together, they journey across Egypt, and they wait until Horus is old enough to be a viable contender for the throne, so that he can take it back from Set. So, eventually this does happen, and the battle begins between Horus and Set.
I have come to seize what is rightfully mine, the throne of Egypt.
This throne is not yours. It is mine. I want it.
You killed my father, and I have come for revenge.
All right. If you are so determined you can beat me, I will grant you your wish. We will fight for the throne.
Right, so many days of fighting ensue, as demonstrated. So near the end of the battle, Horus cuts off Set's testicles, and in retaliation, Set rips out Horus's eye. There we go. And that's significant because Horus is the god of the sky, and one of his eyes represents the sun and one represents the moon. So because one of them was ripped out, the sky is now imbalanced and an eclipse happens because basically the moon itself is dying off. So the sky darkens completely and they stop battling. So then they decide that one of them they'll split up the country, and then one will rule Upper Egypt and one will rule Lower Egypt. So that's where that whole concept came from, with the two different crowns. But then it wasn't enough for either of them. They both wanted to rule United Egypt as Osiris once had before. So they begin fighting once again. And eventually this time, Horus wins, and Set is banished from Egypt.
No! And stay out!
Alright, so Horus then reclaims his eye, and he feeds it to his father Osiris, because that's magical and will restore him permanently. So, and Osiris comes back, instead of having dark skin, he comes back with green skin, because every year the Nile would flood and it would wash away all the black and the brown, and it would come back green. So that symbolizes renewal. So once again, Osiris is fit for rule, but now there's a problem because Horus is now king of the United Egypt. But it's all right because Osiris is now accustomed to the land of the dead, and we'll let Anubis take care of this part.
Osiris, you may take my seat as king of the dead. I am content with mummification and the deadening of the soul. You may rule.
So, Anubis relinquishes his throne, and Osiris becomes the new king of the dead. So, many parallels can be drawn here between Osiris and Horus. One rules the dead, one rules the living, and it again symbolizes the annual renewing, the giving of life by the Nile. So Osiris is the god of renewal now, whereas before he was just some pharaoh. And this shows us how important that the Nile was to the lives of these ancient Egyptians. It was literally everything. It was their life. It was their religion. It was just their art. So yeah. Thanks.
Nice job, you guys.